Assalamualaikum and good day. Today I want to talk about the multiplier effect of zakat. Very quickly, we do some revision on this concept of multiplier. In the economy, we have a marginal propensity to save, where it is given by change in saving divided by change in income. Or in a simple word, when somebody receives an extra dollar, how much of that extra dollar will be used for saving? MPS, marginal propensity to save, MPS plus MPC, marginal propensity to consume, must equal to 1. Therefore, if we want to find MPC, it should be 1 minus MPS. Now, the question here is how these concepts of MPC and MPS can be related to zakat. Note that zakat money is given to certain groups of people or the asnaf, and two major groups targeted under zakat is the fakir and miskin, the poor people. For poor people, they tend to have higher marginal propensity to consume, right? For poor, basically their MPC is very high. For example, for the poor people, when they receive, let's say, $100, they may spend all that $100 for consumption. Therefore, in this case, the MPC, marginal propensity to consume, is equal to 1. Therefore, MPS will be 0. The question here is, how then, when we know that poor people has high MPC, how zakat given to the poor can boost the economy? Now, once we know how to calculate multiplier, we can find change in gross domestic product. And this is given by multiplier times change in the initial level of spending in the economy. So this is how multiplier effect can leads to huge increase in GDP. To understand that further, right? The question here is how we calculate multiplier, given the information that we get earlier on marginal propensity to consume. So multiplier is given by this formula. Alright, 1 over 1 minus MPC, or 1 over MPS. So from here, to understand how much the level of multiplier, let's say we put in the first column here the level of MPC, and then the second column we have the level of MPS. The third column we can find the level of multiplier in the economy. Note that MPC for poor people is very high, let's say 0.9. They save very less, 0.1. Therefore, multiplier comes from here is about 10. Okay, while for rich people, they consume less, therefore they save a lot, and out of this we can find that their level of multiplier among the rich is very low, 1.11. How this can affect the GDP? Change in GDP, as shown in the fourth column there, change in GDP is given in the above formula there. Alright, multiplier times initial change in spending. Let's say for example, the initial change in spending in the economy is by $100. So in the case of poor people, you give $100, they will spend 90% of that. Therefore, change in GDP will be by 1,000. 100 times 10. While for the rich people, if you give 100 ringgit, they may just spend 0.1 of that. Therefore, the multiplier coming from this is only 111. So what's the lesson derived from the discussion? We want to emphasize that In the case of zakat money, it is given to the poor people, and poor people basically they have high MPC as compared to rich people, they have very low MPC. Because of high MPC among the poor, zakat money is given to fakir and miskin, they have high MPC, and this tend to create huge multiplier effect in the economy. Alright, and because of that, we give money, zakat money, sadaqah to poor people. They spend huge proportion of that, and that creates to bigger change in the GDP due to the multiplier effect. In contrast, money received by the rich, they have a lot, they tend to save more. Alright, more saving, more leakage to the economy, low multiplier effect, less change in GDP. Remember that one of the meaning of zakat is growth, and in this context, we can see how zakat creates to huge growth to the economy. Thank you for listening. That's all. See you next time. Wassalam.